I'm super happy to see you here today. If you don't know me, my name is Christy Lawrence. I own a business called Time to Profit, where I help consultants, business owners, and commission-based professionals create consistent cash flow by finding and winning awesome clients, and really by embracing sales, by having the right skills and strategies in place to shine at sales and do so in a way that is rewarding for them and for their potential customers. So today I really want to tackle this topic of selling when you're scared. Obviously, I'm talking about this today because there are a lot of business owners right now that are rightfully fearful for their livelihoods. And if you're one of them, what I really want you to hear me say today is it's okay to be scared. There is a lot of uncertainty right now for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. And one thing that humans crave is certainty. And so if all of this uncertainty has you feeling off kilter, has you feeling off balance, give yourself some grace. It is okay to feel that way. Give yourself the time you need to process, but then it's important to really ask yourself the question, what are you going to do about it? Do you want to stay in that place of fear, or do you want to be proactive about how you're going to move forward in these challenging times? And that doesn't mean pretending that they don't exist. It doesn't mean not acknowledging those feelings. It means making a choice to move forward in spite of those feelings. And I just say that because I think it's really easy to get into this optimistic thinking where I'm just going to talk myself into feeling okay about what's happening right now. And I don't find that to actually be very helpful. I think that the most helpful thing that you can do is, if you're feeling scared and uncertain right now, is to acknowledge that fear and to make space for that fear. But then to make a choice about, given that fear, how do you want to respond? And that is where we have empowerment as humans, is how we respond to any situation. And having an emotional response is 100% appropriate and okay. But then you've got to make the choice about if you want to stay there. So I just say that because I think I don't want to jump right into talking about what to do about it without giving space and grace to actually acknowledging that that fear is understandable and real. And so let yourself have that. And then after you've done that and you're ready to move forward and you're still maybe uncertain, but you want to make some choices about what you're going to do about it, then come back and watch this video. There is this saying, and this is true even in the most certain of times, that the best way to have a sale, or the best time to sell, is when you don't need a sale. And right, I don't know if I made that up, but either way, it's true. The best time to sell is when you don't need a sale. It's kind of like in dating, right? The best way to get a date is to have a date. Have you ever experienced that? Which is not helpful, because you got to get the first one, right? If you need a sale, you need a sale. But when you feel that sense of neediness, it can be really hard to truly be present, engaged, and of service to your client, because you're constantly tight and you're trying to negotiate maybe in a way that's not comfortable for you, or you're trying to push something that might not be a right fit for the client. And so the real question for me is, what do you do when you need that sale, but you recognize that selling from that fear place isn't going to necessarily serve you or your clients? So the first thing you need to do, if you're in this scenario, whether you're watching this as I'm recording it in March of 2020, where we are smack dab in the middle of the COVID uncertainty, or if you're watching it a year from now and revenue's tight and you have bills to pay and you need to win some clients in order to pay your bills. So, right, this isn't just something that happens in times of uncertainty. This is what happens in business, is that there are going to be times when you need that sale. And if you find yourself in that time, for whatever reason, I want you to really just take these steps here. And the very first thing that I want you to do is, I want you to make peace with, or at least acknowledge as a first step, the worst case scenario that's running through your mind. A lot of times we have this fear, I need a sale, I'm not going to have enough money, and it just gets on auto loop, and we never really explore that fear. So here's what I want you to do. If you're experiencing that, I want you to ask yourself, what's the worst case scenario for you? What is the worst thing that happens? So right now, for example, if you're in hospitality sales, what's the worst case scenario, right? Maybe the worst case scenario is that all of your existing contracts for 2020 cancel and nobody rebooks. That's really the worst case scenario. Okay, put it on paper, write it down. There is something so powerful about getting it out of our minds and on paper. And then ask yourself, okay, so what happens? Then what? Well, then the hotel's going to close. There's no revenue to reopen. I'm going to be out of a job. I'm going to be out of an income. Okay, write it down. Don't try to tell yourself that's not going to happen. That could happen. And I just say that not to be a fearmonger, but because arguing with reality and arguing with possibilities or things that might happen are not helpful. So give yourself space to acknowledge that. Okay, so if that happens and you lose your job, then what? Okay, then there's no other jobs and I don't have a livelihood. Okay, so then what happens then? Right? And ask yourself that. Like for me, my default in my business has always been, I'm going to go back and get a corporate job. Okay, worst case scenario, I can't do that because of what's happening in the economy. Okay, what am I going to do then? And for me, it's like, I'll probably go live with my sister. I mean, we all have an end point to the worst case scenario. And it might not be our ideal scenario. We might not like it. But the point here is to acknowledge that you can handle whatever that worst case scenario is. Go down the rabbit hole. Let yourself go to, don't just stop with, I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my income. That's where we like to stop, and that keeps us in fear. Okay, so then what happens? What do you do with that? And really figuring out what you do if the worst case scenario were to happen and creating a plan for how you'll move forward in advance helps to loosen that grip. It helps give you back some empowerment that when you know that you can handle whatever it is that happens, it takes some of that pressure off. So it's not like, I need to make this sale today or I'm going to be homeless. It's, I need to make this sale today, or I might come into the scenario where it was my job, and if that happens, then I might have to go live with my sister. Hi, Andrea. I'm going to move in with you. So, right, there's these different scenarios, but let yourself go through there, and more often than not, what you'll find is there is a solution at the end of it. It might not be a solution that you like, but there is a solution. And then once you have let yourself do that, you've gone all the way down the rabbit hole and you've asked yourself, what you'll do in that scenario and how you'll move forward, I want you to step back and I want you to look at your business. And I want you to try and look at your business as objectively as possible. And the 3 questions that I want you to spend some time with, don't just rush into an answer. Listen to the first thing that comes up. Often for me, that's the thing. And it surprises me. I'm like, what? But go with it. A lot of times when I do these exercises, when I'm trying to create a strategy, when I'm trying to work through things, is I'll write down the initial thing that came up that happened. Then I'll go for a walk or a run and I'll percolate on kind of continuing to ask the question, what is that? What is that? And if I'm really feeling like I want to go deeper, I'll set a timer for 2 to 5 minutes and just do a free write on it and write down everything that comes to mind without stopping my pencils. Because a lot of times you might have information that you're not quite accessing because you're in fear. And when you're in fear and you're in fight or flight, you're not activating the parts of your brain, your frontal lobe, where you're going to have your executive functioning. You're operating fight, flight, or freeze. And so all of these things are designed to help get you out of fight, flight, or freeze so you can get your executive functioning back online and come up with some ideas. So I'm going to tell you the questions, I promise, but I want to give you the process. So ask yourself first these questions. Spend time with them on your own. And then once you've done that, go talk to a couple of friends and ask them these same questions. People that understand your business, colleagues, mentors, to see what else is there that I might have missed. But ask yourself the questions first. Oftentimes we go external first, and in doing so, then we don't give ourselves opportunities to really think through the problem on our own, and we shut down our own creative thinking. So access your own creative thinking first, and then go get the help and support from your mentors. So the questions that I want you to ask yourself are, number 1, what opportunities might I be overlooking? That's a great opportunity. Just let whatever comes. There's no bad answer. Put it on paper, right? It might be online learning. It might be talking with relief organizations to see if they have a need for space. It might be looking at SBA loans to bridge through this gap. It might be that there are still people in the marketplace that are buying your solution, but the conversation might look different, right? What are these opportunities that you might be missing? Ask yourself that question, or that you might be overlooking. And then I want you to get a little bit more tactical on this and really ask yourself, who is most likely to buy? Who is going to be most likely to be your next customer? And just spend some time writing down who you think that might be. Like, if you are going to make an educated guess, who's most likely to be your next customer? Start there. Start with those people. And then ask yourself, and when are they likely to buy? And why are they likely to buy? But really the core question here is, who is the most likely to be your next customer? That can give you a sense of empowerment and give you some important information about where to focus your time and energy. And really simplify the problem, right? Like, oh, wait, there is somebody here that might be most likely to buy. Let me start there. And then the third question that I want you to ask is, what do they need, that person who's the most likely to buy, to feel safe, comfortable, and exciting about the buying decision? What do they need? Is it a piece of information? Is it a reassurance? Is it an experience? Is it personal contact? But really be curious with, what do they need to feel safe, comfortable, and excited about purchasing? These 3 questions will often guide you to unexpected places that you can take action on, from a place of having spent some strategic time coming up with them versus just reacting. So spend some time on this. This isn't like a 2-minute exercise. This is a hour-long exercise, maybe longer, maybe a 2-day exercise of, okay, I know I need to make some sales. I know I'm in fear. Let me spend some time really getting out of fight or flight. What's the worst case scenario? What am I going to do? I'm going to be okay in the end. It might be uncomfortable. It might be painful. I might have to do things I don't want to do, but I'm going to be okay. And maybe also think of some examples of hard things you've overcome in the past, and really think about, how did you get through that? And to reassure yourself that you can do hard things. You can, and you can overcome them. And then once you're out of that panicky feeling, or at least have lessened that panicky feeling, then spend time on those questions. What are the opportunities I might be overlooking? Who is most likely to buy? Who's likely to be my next customer? And what do they need to feel safe, comfortable, and excited about buying from me? So those are where I want you to spend your time. The next thing I want you to do, the third step on this, is to revisit your long-term sales plan. If you don't have one, it's okay. But this is one of the reasons why planning is so important, is it's something we can come back to in times of stress. When we've thought through the problem before we're in stress, we're going to have a lot more clarity on it than in times of stress. So if you don't have a plan, that's okay. You can create one now. But this way you're focusing on the long-term game, your long-term sales plan, not just what you need today. And when you're looking at that long-term sales plan, what are the consistent actions that you committed to doing that you believed in before you were stressed? What were the things that you thought were going to be successful before you got to the stressful situation? Keep doing those things. You can make adjustments. You can ask yourself, are these still the most appropriate things? Is there something that might have changed? Given that, how should I change my consistent action? Absolutely, you want to make adjustments, but just know there's a lot of value in that plan that you put together before you were stressed out. So go back to that, reread your plan, and start taking those consistent actions. Don't let the fear and uncertainty stop you from showing up in your business, because sales and winning customers is a long-term game. It's not something that happens overnight. Sometimes we have quick wins and quick successes, but a lot of times those wins that we have were built over time, and they were built through taking consistent action. And if you want to create consistency on the revenue side of your business, you need to be consistent on the action side of your business. That's the way it works. I hate to hear that, because consistency is not my strong suit. So it's not like this is an easy pill for me to swallow either, but it's the truth. But those consistent actions don't have to be complicated. They don't have to be time consuming. They can be simple things that you committed to doing on a daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly basis. Get back to doing those things. So once you kind of figure out who's most likely to buy, and you're going to put together a plan for those people, then get back to doing the consistent actions for everyone else. I really, really would love to hear from you. How are you doing right now? What's going on with you? What are your fears? How are you working to address them? If you want some more tools to help you, maybe you don't have a sales plan, we have a sales planning tool and checklist that you can download for free. over at mytimetoprofit.com. Again, that's mytimetoprofit.com. We also are going to be opening sometime in April. I haven't finalized the actual date yet, but an online learning opportunity called the Double Down Club, and it is for business owners, consultants, and commission-based salespeople who want to double their revenue in 2020 and want support, tools, and strategies to be able to do that. You can get on the wait list for that. We'll put the link down below. But post in the comments, how are you managing right now? What are your fears? How can I support you? And just a reminder that you have got this. You can do it.